Kiana Jackson, and today is Monday, January 25th. And I'm coming to you today. I just wanted to create a little video and just share a little bit of my heart with you all. A lot of you that know me know that about 10 months ago, my life changed forever when I lost my son. Actually, I don't like to say I lost him because I didn't lose him. He was tragically taken away from me. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you today as to what life has been like for me and for my family for the last almost 10 months, since April 2015, when DeAndre Charles Dickerson took his last breath. So to say that it's painful is an understatement. It doesn't adequately describe the feelings that I've had over the last almost 10 months. Pain definitely is probably the first and foremost feeling that I feel daily. Just the thought, seeing pictures, hearing his voice, recording messages that I have, talking to family and friends, it's painful. In addition to the pain, there's anger. Anger for a number of reasons, which are probably somewhat obvious, but anger that someone decided to take a life that they didn't have the right to take, that my son was so full of life and had so much left to give, and that was tragically cut short. I'm angry about that. I'm angry that my grandson can't talk to his father anymore, and my son was very involved in my grandson's life, and now that he can't talk to him almost daily or FaceTime with him, and that he misses him and that he cries for him, that makes me very, very, very angry. That my mom has her grandson, her only grandson, is gone, and my sisters, their nephew is gone, and my son's father, his firstborn, is now gone, and now we're visiting DeAndre at a cemetery. It's just not fair. It's just not fair, and I've certainly asked God many questions, the main one being why. But enough of that. The next, just kind of want to share with you like the myriad of emotions, pain and anger, and then there's there's a sense of joy, which oftentimes is sometimes met with guilt, that I'm happy, or that I experience joy with such a loss in my life, and joy because I had 24 amazing years with my son, and I tend to gravitate to that a lot. Joy because I know that he gave it all in those 24 years that he was here with me. Joy that I got to spend an amazing weekend with him prior to putting him on the airplane when we said our very last goodbyes. Joy that my grandson got to spend his 5th birthday with his father, and that's the last memory that he'll have of his father. Joy that my son does not have to endure the hate and the confusion and all that can still exist in this world. He's free from that, and he is smiling, and he is in heaven, and he is cracking jokes, and he is laughing that big hearty laugh. And so there's joy in that. Joy that I have experienced love from friends and family that I didn't even know existed. And it gives me when I tell you that God's people are amazing, you guys really are. And you guys have made a seemingly impossible situation to have in my life. You guys have made it possible for me to get up out of the bed, and you guys have made it possible to know what love feels like. So I'm grateful for that. I really am. I'm grateful for that. And I wonder, you know, if this had not happened, you know, like, would I have been able to experience God's love in the way that I've experienced it from you guys? I don't know. But I do know that love, you know, it's the mantra that I've adapted in the last 10 months is love is the answer. And I can choose to be bitter, and I can choose to be angry and frustrated and all of that stuff. But when I choose love, it just wipes all that out. And, you know, some of the joy that I feel is because you guys have carried me. You guys have prayed for me. You guys have loved on me like I didn't even know was possible. So I thank you. So now that I'm getting all teary-eyed, which I did not plan to in this moment of sharing, you know, I just wanted to also share not just the pain and the emotional roller coaster that myself and my family is on, but the pain and the emotional effects of the perpetrator, whomever it was that decided to take my son's life, that he or she or whomever you are, that you are carrying around, that you're walking around every day with, knowing that you took my son's life. And when you are apprehended, the effect, the emotional effect that that's going to have on your family and your friends and your children and your grandmother and your mother and your uncle and your brother and your sisters, that they're going to suffer and that they're going to feel pain and they are going to feel anger. Probably not in the same way that I do, but that the effect of your actions is going to have an effect on your family as well. And, you know, I encourage, and I, in this moment, would like to offer that you, those that are listening, to understand or to really grasp the concept of the decisions, how important the decisions that we make in the moment, how important it is to think, to stop, to think, and before we act. And you know, the decisions that we make that have the triple and the quadruple and ripple domino effects for years and years and forever to come. And while you are sitting in prison for 20 or 30 or however many years, once you're apprehended, your families are going to have to suffer and live with that for those many years, as I have to live with the loss for 30 or forever for the rest of my life. And so we're both affected. And in that moment, the beef, or there is a conflict, or you looked at me sideways, or you took my woman, or you took my man, and you choose to make the choice to take someone's life, I encourage you to stop and understand the effect that that decision has. And what it brings to light to me, the disturbing thing, I think more so that out of this whole thing, is that we as a human race are so disconnected. I mean, we are so disconnected. Social media, instant messaging, everything is so instant and right now, and instant gratitude. And we as humans, we don't pick up the phone and talk to each other anymore. We don't write letters. Everything is text. Everything is instant mail. Everything is IM, DM, Instagram, all that stuff, where we are not touching and connecting as a human race. And the fact that another human is so disconnected from his or her brother that they can make the choice to end their life is beyond fathomable to me. It is just, it is beyond alarming to me that the human race has become so disconnected, that there is such a lack of love, that there is such a lack of compassion, that there is such a lack of connectiveness, that we can end someone else's life just like that in a moment. Pull a trigger, and then we're on the run, and this person is deceased, and we're not thinking twice about it. We go on about our businesses, we continue to shop, we continue to hang out with our friends, we continue to do whatever after you've just taken someone's life. The disconnect there is staggering. And I have, again, I've said from the mantra that I have adapted in this time has been love is the answer. And when we understand and when we get back to love as a human race, there will be less war, there will be less disease, there will be less killings, fightings, all of that. And when we as a people, when we as individuals understand that we matter, everyone matters, you matter, I matter, DeAndre matters, we all matter. And if we understand and love ourselves, like if this individual that took my son or any of the perpetrators out there that have killed numerous of people understood that they matter and the self-love that they have for themselves, they would not have pulled that trigger. And so I just want to continue to let you all know that lack of love and lack of mattering will continue the cycle of hate and crime and pain and violence. And when we get back to love and we get back to mattering, we get back to family, we get back connected, and we touch one another and we visit with one another and we hug one another and we love one another instead of hitting one another and fighting one another and talking about one another and scandalizing. So there's a couple more points that I wanted to make with regards to mattering. And one is, the question came, how do you know you matter, or when do you know you matter? And I would go so far as to say the fact that your mom and your dad got together and created you in love, and that you made it to the world, is indication number one that you matter. And number two is, sharing your feelings and connecting with people and being vulnerable and letting people in and feeling those emotions of anger and sadness and frustration and all of that, those feelings that you go through, and sharing them with other people and letting them know, I can't do this by myself. I don't know what to do, no matter what condition that you're currently facing, whatever the situation is in your life right now. That sharing that and letting other people in is another really good indicator that you matter and that you care enough about you that you need to get the support that you need to make whatever decisions you need to make for your life. So I want to encourage you in that way to really grasp a hold of that, my little nugget to you, so that you understand that you matter is going to be monumental in the healing of the world and getting back to love and understanding that love is indeed the answer. That you love yourself enough to share, and you love yourself enough to be vulnerable, and you love yourself enough to and let others in and connect with you. That is letting me know, that you matter. And in order to, I think it's important, I was asked the question, about my son as far as conversations that we had or didn't have in the home, or even once he got older. And I can remember like certain conversations that I've had in the last few months about my response would be, well, DeAndre was 24 years old and he was an adult, and I was really hands off with him because my goal was to let him know that he could make decisions and give him the power to make his own decisions in his life. And so, I kind of backed off. But I want to encourage you parents. I want to encourage you to have these conversations at home. Let your kids know that you're their biggest fan, no matter what decisions that they make, that you're not trying to, dog them, or you're not trying to judge them, but you are trying to just love on them and let them know that they matter. And when we have those conversations at home, then it translates, and it has a domino effect, and we carry it on into our adulthood. There's a quote that I want to read from a young lady in Portland. Her name is Antoinette Edwards, and it's in a link in an article that I will also attach to this video that speaks on some of the homicides that happened in Portland. and this is indicative that we need to matter, and it's important that we matter. And she says our silence is killing us in respect to not giving information. It's a cultural issue. It's a cultural issue. When white folks tell, they're witnesses. When we talk, they're snitches. So I want to let you all know that you matter, DeAndre matters, and the information that you have about any of these unsolved murders, it also matters. And that you take a stand for us as a human race, that you take a stand in mattering, that you take a stand in love. And I just want you all to know that if nobody loves you, Kiana loves you. Have a great day.